folks, I'm here today with my dad's favourite player from the 70s, Mr. Tony Green. So say hello to everyone, Tony.
Hello everyone. Yeah.
Tony, as probably a lot of Blackpool fans remember, was just an amazing player. His career was cut short a little bit by injuries, and we sold you to Newcastle, didn't we?
Yeah, 1971. Yeah.
1971. Tony was a member of the Anglo-Italian winning team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
70. Yeah.
I've asked people for some questions. All right. Yeah. So the first one comes from Seaside Shuffle, and he says that you're his childhood hero, and when you left for Newcastle, he thought his world had ended. As a kid, he tried to try and mimic your little shuffling jerky run, but he's asked me, do you remember going to the Albany Sports Club in Ansdell about 1968?
No, I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
May remember going, but I don't remember coming back.
He remembers going, but he doesn't remember coming back. Tommy Two Jags says that you had some great games for Blackpool, and whenever you got the ball, the crowd collectively held their breath awaiting a piece of magic. He says he really can't think of any other player who had that effect except for maybe Messi.
No, I think Messi's the best player I've ever seen. So I can't even remotely compare me with Messi.
No.
He's the best I've ever seen. I think he's better than Pelé, better than Maradona, everybody. I think he's sensational.
Yeah, he's an amazing player. Yeah. Well, you've been likened to him, so...
Oh, well.
It's a compliment, isn't it?
Same size,
So thank you very much, Tommy Two Jags, for that one. One game he didn't see you play for was Newcastle against Manchester United, when he understands from the Geordies you took United apart single-handedly. He says, ask you if that was your best ever game, or if not, which one was your best ever game?
Well, I think in those days, every game wasn't televised. So, like the West Ham game for Blackpool, the Man United game, both were BBC Match of the Day. So everybody sees them.
Yeah.
So if you have a good game then, the whole country thinks you're a great player.
Yeah.
You could have 6 bad games, be on telly the 7th, and they all think you're great.
Yeah.
So people remember all the games that were on telly.
Yeah, TV. It's not like today.
No, the last game I played, I think it's probably the best game I played for Blackpool, was against Aston Villa. And we beat them in the League Cup. In fact, somebody this week mentioned it, and that's one person in 50 years has mentioned it.
Wow.
Because it wasn't on telly.
No, but somebody saw it live.
Yeah, somebody must have been at the game.
Was that here?
Yeah, just somebody where I live. I was walking the dog and just said to me, started talking about the Aston Villa game. But because it wasn't on telly, there was 20,000, 30,000 here.
Yeah.
So if it's on telly, people say, oh, it's your best game.
Yeah, but they didn't see the games that weren't on TV. Yeah, I get that. I mean, obviously nowadays we see every game, don't we? And
that's right.
From every angle, and there's different angles on everything. You know, we'd have seen more of your runs. I'm going to put a link up here on the video, which will show Tony Green's 2 goals against West Ham in the Cup. Quite a few people have asked me about that game. There's a few rumours that the West Ham players went out on the drink the night before, and Blackpool got hold of that. Did you know anything about that?
Well, I think they always did, but I don't think they actually went in the drink. I think they'd have 3 or 4 halves of lager. Yeah. And there was Clyde Best who never drank, and he got roped in as well. Oh. So he got fined as well. So I think they just went out, had 3 or 4 halves of lager, and then. But we went to the Imperial. I think it was Imperial Hotel, and all the waiters were telling us they were all coming in all hours. But I don't think they were, to be honest. No. I think they went out, as I said, and had a few pints at the most.
So we just beat them fair and square then, basically.
But we'll say that
nothing
anyway,
to do with it. So there was like Bobby Moore was playing for them then, wasn't there?
Jimmy Greaves, I think, was playing.
Jimmy Greaves was playing for West Ham, yeah. We just tore them apart, didn't we, 4-0. As I say, there is a link up there, and you can see the 2 fantastic goals that Tony scored. There was one where he just ran through like 6 West Ham players and scored. Do you actually remember that? Do you remember that goal?
I remember it, only have seen it in telly. Yeah. I wouldn't have had a clue. No? No, only. Just sort of But they show you on, is it YouTube or whatever it is? Yeah. I don't go on YouTube, but my wife does. So. In the Man United game, when I was up there a couple of years ago, a taxi driver recognised us, and he had that game on his phone, and he's driving and he's talking to me at the same time. And he wasn't bothered with the traffic. He showed me this clip.
You're joking? I was driving the taxi.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I'll show you the clip of you.
You in the back.
Oh my gosh! Because is that the game where you put George Best?
Well, that's what he was showing me. Yeah. And I'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
I'd rather he was driving.
That's the bit where he's chasing after you and he tumbles over, because you do that little shimmy run, don't you, for the second goal. You set it up. But there was Bobby Charlton.
The forward line was Willie Morgan, Brian Kidd, Dennis Law, Bobby Charlton and George Best.
Wow, formidable.
Yeah, so it was...
so who was the stars in the Newcastle team then for you?
Well, we had Bobby Moncur, was a Scottish captain. We had Malcolm MacDonald. Malcolm scored a lot of goals, scored for fun. We had little Terry Hibbett who come from Leeds. We had sort of a good side.
Yeah,
The two full-backs, we had Frank Clark, the left-back, who went on to win the league in the European Cup with Notts Forest.
Right.
Right-back, Davy Craig, was a terrific player. So we had a good team.
Who was the best player that you ever played with?
Well, if you play for Scotland, you play with, obviously it's got people like Dennis Law, Billy Bremner, played with Jimmy Johnson.
Wow.
But at club level, played with Jimmy Armfield. And Alan Suddick had more skill than probably most of those players I've mentioned.
Right.
Malcolm MacDonald was a great goal scorer. I mean, I get the reputation of not looking very good in training, but he made me look like a superstar because he was really bad in training.
Who was that?
Malcolm MacDonald. Yeah.
He made you look...
Yeah, he just looked as if he couldn't control the ball. But on a Saturday, he was terrific in front of goal, yeah.
Oh, that's when you need to turn it on, isn't it, on the pitch. Do you remember much about the Anglo-Italian Cup final? It was a bit surreal, really, because we got relegated at the same time, didn't we, that year?
Well, to be honest, I think it was a very, very hot day, and I think that Alan Suddick played really well that day. I don't remember that much about it, to be honest.
No, just a blur.
Because I missed 18 months, and when I come back, I think it took me to the end of that season before, because sometimes I was trying to get by people and I just seemed to have lost a bit of pace, and then next week I would get it, and I struggled a little bit at times. And then at the end of the season I started feeling strong again.
Right, because you had like 2 injuries, didn't you? Did you have two injuries?
I had only 2, I never get niggly injuries.
No, you
just Achilles tendon snapped.
So what was your first?
My Achilles tendon snapped.
That was when you were playing for Blackpool,
Blackpool, yeah.
So how did that happen? Was that just?
Well, a lot of people think it was John McPhee, but it just went. I was in training and I was trying to get by John, and John was great with us, and I just felt real pain. It was like a knife came through him.
Yeah.
Like
when Beckham got that, I felt like being shot in the back of his, just went down, didn't he?
And I just looked up and I said, "Did you kick me?" And I knew he didn't. And I think that's why rumours started that Johnny McPhee caught me.
It just snapped, didn't it?
Yeah.
So how long did that take to get rehabilitated from that?
Well, we had no physio at the time.
Yeah,
so
it's not like it is today, is it?
They sent me to Lytham, and he was telling me I should go to a ploughed field and run. And then we get Vinnie Conboy, and first thing he did was take me to Wrightington.
Right.
And they just said, you need an operation. And then the surgeon came in after
the stitch it back?
Yeah, he just came in and said to me, I've sewn a new Achilles tendon in. He says, you might be okay, you might not. He says, you might never play again. Just that matter of fact.
Oh my God.
He says, but you might.
Yeah.
And he says, but just hope for the best that it grows again. And off he went. So we're just lying in a hospital bed and moaning.
So did it grow again?
Yeah.
It grew back. Yeah. So how long were you out for?
Well, I missed the season, and then I started the next about the September or something the next season. So 18 months from roughly since I played.
Yeah, so it was a long injury,
long time,
wasn't it? Now, I don't know, but there was, when you went back training, they say there was like 1,000 people there to watch you train?
No, I think there was about 10,000. No, the first game we played, I think, Everton Reserves. Yeah. I think there was 10,000 at the match.
10,000?
10,000, yeah.
Just for a reserve match?
For a reserve match,
Tony Green was back?
Yeah.
Flip it. I mean, how did that make you feel?
Well, so it's only 50 years later you realise the significance, if you know what I mean. At the time, all you want to do is get the game over and finish without an injury and start playing again.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so it's only in retrospect that you can look back and say, oh, that was nice. At the time, probably it was quite a blur.
So the game that I showed the video, which was against West Ham where you scored the 2 goals. That's after your injury then? That's when you've come back.
Yeah.
And the Anglo-Italian Cup final
was also... at the end of that season, yeah.
Yeah, so that's all, you were back then. Yeah. So when then did you get transferred to Newcastle?
The start of next season, October.
Right.
Yes.
And you played, how many matches did you play for Newcastle?
Well, I think it varies, but I think it was something around about 33, 34, I think.
Yeah. I think somebody was saying that you're actually in the Newcastle Hall of Fame, aren't you?
Yeah.
Through only playing...
Well, what they used to do, they used to ask the opposition manager who was Newcastle's best player, and then that counted for man of the match. And I think when I finished, something like, if I played 33 games, I think I had 25 man of the matches.
Wow.
So...
no wonder you remembered so fondly.
But Ronnie Simpson says they never had enough time to catch me out. So.
I think I was talking to Christy before, and she said you've been up in Newcastle and some old lady had seen you and got down on her hands and knees or something.
Yeah.
She was...
You say old lady, she was the same age as me.
Well, she remembered you from a long time ago, and she was giving you the...
Well, they do, because when you got up there, I used to go up and people would say your favourite player, and you know, the last time I was up, somebody says everybody our age, you're my favourite player.
Yeah.
But I generally get now, I'm down to the granddad's favourite player. Okay. I used to get my dad's.
Yeah.
Now you get my granddad's favourite player.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
It is,
because it's passed out.
Somebody asked me, which was your favourite manager to play for? You were signed by Stan Mortensen, is that right?
Yeah.
Just while I'm on Stan Mortensen, because he came up to watch you play for Albion Rovers?
Yeah.
Albion Rovers?
Yeah, I didn't know that. It was the last game of the season.
Yeah.
And then it was a morning kick-off because it was a Scottish Cup final.
Yeah. And
then I didn't know anything. I was going to meet my girlfriend later and get back. And Morty was in his house with Harry Johnson.
Wow.
And I walked in and I saw my dad there. And I thought, what's he doing here? And what had happened, somebody stopped my dad, was walking down the road and said to my dad, do you know where Tony Green lives? And my dad says, well, I'm his father. He says, well, he's going to sign for Blackpool tonight. My dad says, well, he's at his girlfriend's house. So he jumped in the car and the reporter took him.
Oh.
So he was at the house when I arrived back.
Ah.
So I was wondering what was going on.
So Stan Morty went to your girlfriend's house just to sign you for Blackpool?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you know much about Blackpool then?
No, well, after I got very friendly with Stan, and he told me that they asked him on the Friday what he was doing. He says he's going to watch Albion Rovers in Cowdenbeath. They said to him, well, don't sign Tony Green because A, he's not big enough, and B, he's not good enough. And they said, so that was he was told not to.
He was told not to sign you?
And then on the Monday, he went back and they said to him, what have you done this weekend? He says, well, I've signed Henry Mowbray and Tony Green. And he says there was a deadly hush. And then he says, and I'm going to put Tony Green into the first team on Saturday, which is about 6 divisions above where I was playing. Yeah. Because it was the top division in England. And he says the hush get quieter if you could get a... And he says they weren't happy. Yeah. And he played us on the Saturday and I did okay.
You did okay. I bet you did more than okay.
Yeah, I did get standing ovation.
Did you?
So,
I can imagine, yeah. I mean, a lot of people said, you know, whenever you got on the ball, the crowd would go quiet because they were just the anticipation of what you were going to do. So Robbie has asked quite a few questions here. His first one is, how does it feel to be widely regarded as the best ever Blackpool player in the modern era? That's his first question.
To be honest, I don't really think about it. It's just something, it's nice, but it's just something that's happened, to be honest. And I never really think like that anyway.
No. How did you feel when you returned from your injury during the home game with Everton? So but it wasn't Everton, was it? It was just Everton?
No, it was the first game I played against Everton because I was on the bench. And I think Tony Coleman got injured and I went on. And that's quite, again, it's just a blur in a way, but I can remember at the time I was really, really nervous, more nervous than I think I've ever been. Because it was very tender, my Achilles tendon, so I used to have to put a shin pad on at the back and stitch and tie around it, so because if anybody kicked it, it was really tender. So it was tender for about In fact, till I finished, it was tender.
So you played with a shin pad on the back.
On the back, yeah.
You told George Best. You put George Best on his back.
Yeah, when I say a shin pad,
just something.
I cut it like that, so and it just fitted round there.
Yeah, just to protect it.
Yeah,
you probably get that
was
with
just
the
tender.
boots nowadays, wouldn't you?
If you touched it, it was just very tender.
Yeah,
and then it gradually get less tender.
The new boots, they have like like an extra sock almost. When they've got to put the feet in, it's got like protection on that. I'll tell you what we'll do next is the thing. Right, Tony's very kindly come with some photographs which is signed to give away. There's this photograph here. And then he's got a signed photograph of him playing for Newcastle. He's got a signed photograph of him playing for Blackpool. So I'm going to give these away as prizes. For this photograph here, we're going to want them to name one of the players in this, and I think we're going for this guy here, are we?
Yeah.
We're going to go for this guy. So Tony wants to know who, the guy there with the bowler hat on, the big tall guy, what's he called there? If you can put that in the comments down below in the video and tell us who that guy is, you can have this fantastic photograph. We've got Alan Hansen's on it.
I'll tell you this, Roger Hunt, Mickey Thomas, Ian Callahan, me, Alan Hansen, Gary Pallister, Gordon Banks, and A Another.
A Another, yeah. So the A Another, we need to know the name of the A Another. We need to do a question for this one, don't we? What should we do for the signed Blackpool photograph? What could we do as a question?
Who's in the background?
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Right, so on that photograph, if you can name the player in the background, the player in the background on that one, you can have that signed photograph. And what can we do for the Newcastle one? Tony, we can do some.
You could actually offer that if you get in touch with Newcastle. You know, if you want to get your link to Newcastle.
Yeah, okay. So
you could offer that.
So a question for Newcastle fans. What do you think?
Actually, who did they play in the testimonial?
That'd
be a good match.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
So Newcastle fans, if you're watching this, you can get this signed photograph of Tony Green. If you can tell us, the question is, which team did Tony play against in his testimonial match? Okay.
Yep.
So that's those done. I think we're just going to bring Christine in because quickly you just come and do. Tony's wife's here, Christine Green. She just wants to say something. You come and sit on Tony's knee if you want.
I'm not sitting on his knee. I'm squashing.
This is Christine Green, Tony's wife.
Hi.
She just got something she wants to ask.
I've been volunteering at the football club for about the last 3 weeks. I think the new board has done an absolutely fantastic job. It's very early days, but we are looking to recruit. Details are on the club website, but anybody that's interested in a job in the ticket office or in the hotel, catering, etc., etc., we are looking to expand. It will be gradual. We're not going to take 100 people on tomorrow, but keep your eye on the website and that will give you details of the vacancies as they come up.
Okay, and they've got to email.
If you are interested, please send your email to dawn.butterworth@blackpoolfc.co.uk or send it to the address that's on the website, which is slightly different.
Those are the details there.
Okay. Can I go now?
You can do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do you want to go? You were going to talk forever, you said.
Well, I can talk forever. Right, come back.
Right, so Tony Green back in. Put that back on there. This is KC Cider, and he said that about the 4-0 demolition of West Ham, it was a very cold day. His dad actually watching, he said he looked like he must have been wearing ice skates on that pitch. So was it?
I think it was, yeah.
Pretty iced up.
I think the times changed because I think at the time it was playable. I don't think they play it now.
No.
But at the time you just got on with it.
Yeah, you just play it.
Yeah, because when you look at some of the pitches, if the same rules now that you'd never played a game.
No, because you see, don't you, like, you know,
yeah, like Derby was just like a quagmire.
Sliding in loads of water and mud and everything. You just need to play in any sort of.
That's why I still can't understand when when Jimmy Anfield died, when we were supposed to play Charlton, I couldn't understand why the game was off, because the pitch to me looked perfect, and they said there was 2 spots where the ball wouldn't bounce, which shouldn't make any difference. And when I played, no matches would have been played if that was a stipulation.
Back
so
in your day.
Still don't understand why that game was cancelled.
Would you think back then that this, the kind of pitches you played on, would that have like attributed to your injuries then? Do you think you wouldn't have got them on today's pitches maybe?
I don't know. I mean, really, when I think about it, when we were kids, we played in hard grounds. It was gravel we played in.
Yeah.
And you played morning, noon, and night, really.
Yeah, it's just.
So just one of these things.
I mean, Seb plays, local football, and they play on pitches that are just. Bobble, just awful pitches. You couldn't possibly play in it, but they play.
It was like ash pitches we used to play in.
Yeah.
So your legs, your ankles would go over.
Yeah,
quite regularly.
So dangerous times. So I mentioned your first injury, but then you got a career-ending injury, didn't you? That was playing for. We playing a match then, or was that done in training as well? Was that?
No, we played against Crystal Palace.
Right.
And I wasn't a great tackler, but I could chase back and just nick the ball away. And Mel Blythe had the ball, and I chased him, and I just tried to nick the ball away and lost balance. I think he might have just maybe knocked me over, but nothing malicious.
No.
Wasn't his fault. And I knew it was bad because I couldn't walk, and but they had me running up and down. And then I fit the terracing, and I thought I'd get an operation straight away. And about 3 months later, I asked for a second opinion, and I found out that the Newcastle surgeon, he was the vice chairman, wasn't an orthopaedic surgeon.
Oh.
So he was a general surgeon. And I went to see the chairman. I says, well, if I was a plumber and I had that injury, I'd get an orthopaedic surgeon. But I'm a professional footballer and I get a general surgeon. It's absolutely crackers.
Unbelievable.
And
so where did you have the operation done?
I went back to Wrightington. And then I went in on the Tuesday, whatever day it was, he operated the next morning.
What was it that you did?
It was my knee,
Oh, your knee?
It just all went out of sync, and
it came
I think
out,
I did my ligaments,
cruciates.
And no, it wasn't my cruciates, but it was everything else.
Right.
And I did come back, and I played played in the reserves at Coventry. Tommy Hutchison came, Ian St John was the coach there.
Yeah.
And I scored, we won 1-0, and I phoned home and I says everything's going great. And I went out with Hutchie and we celebrated a bit, and then I woke up the next morning, I couldn't walk.
No.
So I went from being in a high, and then, so I knew, and then they would drain it, and I'd train, and I'd go back, and then after I played, it would just blow up.
Yeah.
So I knew I was struggling.
Yeah.
And
you can't really run if you've got like a knee, you got that worry of your knee all the time, haven't you?
And when I finished, one of the directors, and Joe Harvey, and I got on great with Joe, and I think Joe was more upset than me when the season was finished.
Yeah.
I had to console him.
Oh.
He was really upset. Just one of these things.
Yeah. It's just an injury that came along. Somebody asked about what happened to you after football. You became a teacher, is that right?
Yeah.
You were a teacher what do you teach, Tony?
Well, I went to college. Before I signed for Blackpool, I did a year at university.
Yeah.
And then when I finished, I decided to become a PE teacher, but I ended up a maths teacher. So I started PE and maths, and then, because there was always a shortage of maths teachers.
Right.
So I ended up teaching maths.
Which field did you teach at?
Well, I taught in Newcastle, then I taught at Thornton, and then I finished up at Hodgson.
Oh, Hodgson.
Yeah. Okay. I taught Millfield, I taught in South Shore at Knoll, and then I finished up at Hodgson.
You've stayed in Blackpool, haven't you? A lot of people said, you've come back to Blackpool. I suppose you just enjoyed your time here, did you, at Blackpool?
Well, I think it's a nice place to live.
Yeah. It is a nice place to live.
And then you were asking that, so I was teaching for about a year. No, I wasn't, I was at college, and I got a phone call from Joe Cummings, who worked for the Sunday Mirror, and he just said to me, you'd be interested in a job that you'd have to leave on a Friday and come back on a Saturday. So I hadn't a clue. And it was a pools panel.
Ah, the pools panel.
So he said, would you like to do that. So I started 1975, the pools panel, and they called me in the first day and they said, if it goes, you'll definitely be on a year, but if everything goes well, you could be on 2 years or 3 years. And 44 years I'm still doing it.
You're still on the pools panel, yeah?
Still doing it, yeah.
Yeah, you still do it. You do all the Australia and everything this summer. And the longest career probably, is it? Being on the pools panel.
Yeah, so...
so who comes in to do the pools panel? Is it always the same people? Or do you
it started with... That's how we get very close to Morty. Because Morty was on it, and then Roger Hunt, Arthur Ellis, the referee, Ronnie Simpson, the Celtic goalkeeper. So me, Roger and Morty used to travel backs and forwards together. So we all get very friendly.
So you're still doing that now?
Yeah.
So
we just do it in Liverpool.
Oh, in Liverpool.
We used to go to London. No, they used to, if matches were off, they'd say pools panel result.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. That for the pools.
Yeah.
They don't do it now.
Yeah. If the matches are not on.
So if the but it's usually the lower matches are off now.
Yeah. The games that are off with rain and stuff. I suppose there's not as much now a pools panel, is there? Or is it every week?
Well, we still do it every week. Yeah, there's still you still get a fair amount of games off in the lower divisions.
Yeah, so when they're reading the actual scores out at the end of the day, it comes out, you've decided...
Decide what the results would be.
Okay, I've got
so Morty was on it, Roger, and then gradually for the last 25 years, it's been just three of us, Roger Hunt, Gordon Banks and me.
Right.
So,
what's your favourite goal you ever scored, Tony? Can you remember your favourite goal?
The one I remember more than anything was the first goal I scored for Blackpool at Bolton.
Oh, okay.
Because I was struggling to get in the game. It was very quick, and they played the ball out, and I just took the ball off and just hit it, and it went in the back of the net. So I still remember that.
Yeah, you still remember that.
I forget everything else, but I remember that
first
one.
Goal.
Yeah,
the very first goal. Can you remember your first goal for Newcastle? For all the Newcastle fans, you remember?
Yeah, I remember. It was against Southampton.
Against Southampton. Yeah. Was it live on TV or was it one year? Was it at Newcastle or at Southampton?
At Newcastle.
At Newcastle.
Yeah. But I think you get a lot of the matches on Tyne Tees television. So in Newcastle, Sunderland, Middlesbrough, and Newcastle. So you'd be on every third week. So there's 1 in 3 chance it'd be on.
Yeah, shown to the Tyne Tees. Are they still going, Tyne Tees?
Tyne Tees, yeah, it's still going.
Still going. After the '66 World Cup winning team, only a couple of players got knighted. There was Jeff Hurst got knighted.
Bobby Charlton.
And Bobby Charlton got knighted. Yeah. And a lot of people felt that Gordon Banks should have got a knighthood. He did a lot of work for Alzheimer's, and he was a good friend of yours. How do you feel about that, Tony?
Well, I think it's crackers because I don't know the name. I read somewhere when England win the Ashes after 10 years, they all get the OBE.
Yeah.
The England manager, Gareth Southwell, just get the OBE for reaching the semi-final.
Yeah.
And Roger got an MBE for winning the World Cup, and that was about 30 years after he won it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem right somehow.
No.
I don't know. It's strange. If the present team win the World Cup, they'd all get knighted.
They'd all get knighted, probably.
Yeah, so why they've only done 2.
That year, wouldn't they?
I don't know, yeah.
Oh, very strange. And you did a lot of work, Christine mentioned you did a lot of work for Alzheimer's.
He did a lot of charity work.
Yeah.
So they all do charity work.
Sad thing, that.
Yeah. I'll tell you a good story about Gordon in a minute.
Go on.
I'm just saying, the three is going abroad all the time.
Yeah.
Every year. So we golf, and it's about 5 years ago, we decided we'd go and watch Man United and City. So the three of us walked into this pub, and the owner we said to him, "You get the football on tonight?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "Do you like football?" We went, "Yeah." So he says, "I was a football player." So none of us recognised him. So he says, "Who did you play for?" So it was some obscure amateur team in Scotland. So he sat side on to us, and all through the game he's telling us how good he was and what he would have done. So the three of us are just sitting watching the football. Second half started, and they started again. So then he gave United a free kick. So I turned and I said, "I don't think that was a free kick." Roger agreed, Gordon agreed. And this bloke leaned over and he wagged his finger at the pair of them. He says, "When you've played the game, that was a free kick." And the three of us just looked at each other.
Do you know who these guys are?
He had a clue. He wagged his finger at them.
Really?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, so That used to happen all the time.
Yeah, of course, he probably didn't recognise you, but you know more about football than he's had hot dinners, I should imagine. Yeah. Another very famous game that you played for Blackpool was the last game of the season away at Huddersfield, where we won 4-1 and we didn't get promoted. That, yeah. You will remember that, yeah, because we'd all thought we got promoted, everybody had gone, and we missed out, didn't we, on goal difference to QPR?
Yeah.
Is that right? So how did the team take that, Tony? Because obviously, for 1 minute we were promoted, weren't we? And then
it was quite strange because it was neck and neck, and then I remember Les Graham saying to us, Len Graham saying, if you win the last 7 games, you'll get promotion. Yeah. And we won 6, and we went to Huddersfield, and then we didn't know what was going on. But as far as I knew, it came over the tannoy that Aston Villa were beating Queen's Park Rangers. Yeah. So then they all come rushing on. The final whistle went, and everybody, the champagne came out, and we all sat in the dressing room. And then somebody came in and says, Queen's Park Rangers have scored. Yeah. 2-1. Yeah. So everything just went flat. I can remember that. Yeah. Remember that everybody running onto the pitch. Yeah, I remember the whole celebration and just the whole come down. It must have been terrible. Yeah, and it's funny, I can remember another player who was great with us was Tommy White, and I remember they signed Tommy around about Easter. Yeah. And we win the last 7 games, so if we'd gone up, Tommy would have been remembered as the player that they signed and got us up. Oh yeah, of course. You know, things like that. It's strange how things work out. Yeah. It's so unlucky. Somebody's asked, you weren't paid vast sums of money back then. This is asked by Deary. He's asking what was the difference in the pay from sort of Albion Rovers and then playing for Blackpool and then playing for Newcastle. Was there like massive differences in what like today it would just be, wouldn't it? You'd be on £200 at Albion Rovers or something, and then a couple of thousand at Blackpool and 250,000 at Newcastle. Well, I tell you, Albion Rovers, we used to be on. It was part time. Yeah. So I don't know if it's about 20. If you can multiply it by 20 or whatever. Yeah. We used to be on £7 a week. Right. And £5 a win, £3 a draw. Wow. But if you get injured, you still get your £7. Right, okay. But if you get dropped, you only get £4. Oh. And I'd played 15 months, and there's clubs been interested. I hadn't missed a game. And then I broke my arm at Christmas. It was the first serious injury I've ever had. So I broke my arm at Christmas in the hard ground. And I got my wages and I only get £4 a week. I said to the senior players, so they says, go up and see the chairman. He ran the club. So I went up to see him, and I says, I think you've made a mistake. I says, you've only given me £4. And he looked, he says, I was going to drop you anyway. And I only get £4 till I come back. I got my plaster off. And I went to Blackburn to play a trial just before I signed for, and the game was cancelled because of the weather. And then I signed for Blackpool. Right. But I only get £4 for the 6 weeks I missed with a broken arm. Blimey. He just says I was going to. So then what was the step in wages then to come into Blackpool? Was that a big step up in wages back then? Can you remember? I think it was on about £25 a week then, initially. 25. But then I get a big rise when I started doing okay. Yeah. But then when I went to Newcastle, you could go to the other end of the country for another £40 a week, because it was a big wage. £40 could be the average wage. So it's just a different world now, isn't it? Christine has sent me a picture of the newspaper from Newcastle, isn't it? So I'm going to put that in this clip in there. They reckoned Tony would go for about 50 million now rather than 100,000, so she'd have been all right in handbags, she said, if you'd signed for 50 million. It's just changed so much. I mean, George Best, I think, was the first £10,000 a year player, so that was £200 a week. £10,000 a year? A year, yeah. Blimey. So what would he be on now? So I think Gordon says his best wage, I think, was £150 at Stoke. So if you times that by 20, 25, it'd be the equivalent of £3,000 a week. Still. And he was the best goalkeeper in the world. Yeah. And you look now, you'll get that in the bottom division. Yeah, yeah. But it's just your luck, isn't it? My dad actually had trials at Blackpool, and he didn't get
taken on, but he went to work for Jupils, which are like, you know, coach builders.
Yeah.
And he was saying the money then really, you know, to work at Jupils spraying coaches was more money than he would have got on Blackpool, so it didn't really make a difference then, but now it's just, it's crazy money.
5, if not 6 years ago.
Right, yeah, so that's from 5 or 6 years ago, 50 million, so gosh knows how much you'd be going for now. 500 million, Tony.
Doesn't bear thinking about it.
It's just a different world, isn't it? It's a different world.
Well, to be honest, football, you know, a lot of clubs have struggled, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean, the rich are getting richer and the poor are probably getting poorer.
They are, but they're spending money, crazy money out
of
it. They keep getting big, you know, the Sky keep putting the money up, but the players keep going up.
Well, that's all it does. So transfer fees and wages at the top level.
So they're not really making, I don't think they're making more money because they just keep buying, now they're buying players for 100 million, 200 million, when they were buying them for 10 million. You know, it's just gone crazy.
I can't fathom how, like Sanchez I thought was great at Arsenal, but £500,000 a week, it's like £2 million every month.
I know.
It's incredible. It's just
going to be I think it's just going to become like notes in your bank account anyway. You just don't even know how much you've got. Yeah. You know, I heard a story about a Premier League player who had a Range Rover. He bought a Range Rover and then he rang his dealer up saying that I want, you know, a new model had come out. So how much would you like part exchange my old Range Rover in for against the new model? And the dealer said, well, how many miles have you done in your old Range Rover? And he said, well, I've done 200 and it's got 250 something on it. And the dealer went, well, we delivered it with 250 on it. I said, I've not driven it. It's been in the garage. So he wanted to like swap his Range Rover. He'd never even driven it. So it's just crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's a different world from where you played, isn't it, I suppose? Did you more... I suppose the money really wasn't the thing back in those days, was it? It was more just the playing football, was it, for you?
I think it's, you know, it's your job as well. I mean, to be honest, that's why people get transferred, because you want to go to a bigger club. Yeah. I mean, Blackpool was a terrific club when I came. The older players were great, and it was a great place to come and play. Yeah. Everybody was good. But then if you do well, you've always got in the back of your mind, you'd like to try. If you don't do it, you always be back when you finish, could have played at a higher level. Yeah. And I think you've got that in the back of your mind as well. Somebody actually said if you'd have carried on playing, they think you could have been as good as Kenny, you know, remembered as good as Kenny Dalglish in Scotland, really, you know, for what he could have achieved. I think he was special, Dalglish. Yeah, he was. But I think you'd have been up with the top, Tony, if you'd have carried on. It's just injuries. One of these things, isn't it? It is. This has been an honour for me, Tony. As I said, my dad, you know, just loved Tony Green. So thank you very much for giving me time. Yeah, and pleasure. I'll obviously put some links in for these photographs, and you know, if we can name this mysterious player. I don't think MD will get him. No, it's a tough one, but there's one obviously for Newcastle fans. There's a photo for Blackpool fans, and obviously this mysterious photograph. So I'll post links in the comments below. But thanks again, Tony. Pleasure. Thank you for your time. Okay. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.